Hey everyone, finished watching the next couple of Power Rangers Reversion episodes, Island of Illusion, Part 1 and Part 2. Now, for some reason, when I downloaded these episodes to get screenshots for this video, they downloaded in extremely low quality. The image quality isn't going to be the best in this video. So anyway, Island of Illusion, Part 1. Zack, for some reason, is nervous about an upcoming dance contest. Bulk challenges him, and despite Zack easily besting him, he still lacks confidence. Rita, meanwhile, summons the new monster Mutitus and Lokar. They get a dramatic entrance, the sky grows dark, and there's lightning. The Rangers go to find Zack, but Tommy stays behind at the juice bar to watch his karate students. Mutitus approaches, and one of Trainee's whoas are cut for some reason.
Whoa!
The Rangers call the Zords, but Mutitus is strong. I've always liked Rita's line here.
Finster, I made my own monster, and it's winning!
The sky darkens once again, and the Megazord looks from side to side. Little question marks appear above its head, which is probably one of the funniest effects so far. Lokar comes next. He's a creature that really stood out in my mind. He's a floating giant head with spiky hair that looks like icicles. Back at the juice bar, Tommy asks Ernie to watch his students after Zordon contacts him. Lokar displays his bizarre ability to breathe on Mutitus and mutate him. He's even stronger than before, but luckily Tommy's arrived with the Dragon Zord. Lokar laughs, and I can't help but notice a similarity to a certain future bad guy. Mutitus sprays toxic foam on the Zords, which disables them. The Rangers jump out, but find themselves thrown into another dimension. They land on the Island of Illusion. Their morphers and communicators are gone. Stock footage of a Komodo dragon pops in. We also see someone watching from the bushes. Zack spots him, but doesn't know what to make of it. Just then, they hear music. They follow the sound to a dwarf dressed like Peter Pan playing a flute. He mistakes them for enemies and disappears. An image of Goldar appears in the sky, and several old monsters charge at the Rangers. Pine Octopus, Pudgy Pig, Shell Shock, and Eye Guy. Oh, and Snizzard, he was just kind of slow behind the others for some reason. Once they reach the Rangers, they disappear. Zack then encounters a snake. He screams in terror, but the others can't see it. They insist it's not real, but Zack breaks down. He runs off when suddenly his body begins to disappear. The dwarf from earlier pops up and tells everyone that a lack of confidence is what causes the disappearance. Goldar laughs as the Rangers try to figure out what to do. I really like this one. It's a bit different from what's come before, but not that different. The one weak element here is definitely Zack's loss of confidence concerning the upcoming dance contest. He's a great dancer. Where's this nervousness coming from? From Bulk? The one who routinely trips and crashes into everything? Maybe if we'd seen someone with talent equal to Zack's, it would be more clear. Mutitus has a cool look. He was one of my favorite monsters as a kid. I was so disappointed the toy that was planned for him was cancelled. Hopefully Playmates does something with him. Lokar is cool too. I always hoped we'd see him return in the future. He did return once later in Mighty Morphin with scars across his face. There's also a relative of his that came up once in Dino Fury.
Your humor is weird and confusing.
In the comics, Lokar had his own dimension where he had a body and he gave Scorpina new powers. The effects for this one aren't anything particularly special, but there is a neat slithering snake transition at the end. So on to Island of Illusion Part 2. This episode has its moments, but overall it's too repetitive. After the first episode set up a big adventure, this one falls a bit flat. The Rangers hike through the Island of Illusion, and one by one each Ranger suffers a crisis of confidence. Each time, the dwarf, Quagmire, pops in to tell them what they already know, but in rhyme. Every flashback is accompanied by new border graphics. They're not super creative, but I guess it's something. At the beginning is a very random-feeling commercial bumper centering around Pudgy Pig. I guess Pudgy Pig was kind of in the first episode, so it's not completely out of nowhere, but it's still pretty weird. Kim's illusion is definitely the most entertaining, but also the one that makes the least amount of sense. What breaks Kimberly is Bulk and Skull dressed like angels helping a turtle. Maybe if this was a more outwardly comedic episode, this would work, but it's treated as dire and serious. Even as a kid, I didn't quite get it. Tommy's illusion is next, and his is actually kind of interesting. He sees himself surrounded by putties, but the audience sees the putties are actually his friends. Someone behind the scenes must have liked this idea because it came back as the plot to a whole episode, Putty on the Brain. Another commercial bumper focuses on Eye Guy, another monster that was kind of in the first episode, so maybe that was the logic. After Tommy comes Trini. Trini's illusion comes after her loss of confidence, as she sees her and Billy up the mountain from the episode High Five. I'm not sure how Rita thought this illusion would work, since Billy and Trini defeat the putties they encounter that time. Billy just gives up, I guess, so he's next. Maybe his illusion is seeing himself start to disappear. Everyone else starts to fade from the ground up, but he starts with his right arm. That's different, and after that, he starts to disappear like everyone else. That's my new fan theory. Billy's illusion is seeing himself disappear before it actually happens. Billy's flashback shows a monster that hasn't shown up yet in the episode order that I'm following. Maybe the air dates got mixed up there. Jason is up next, but first, a commercial bumper with Pine Octopus, another monster from last episode. I guess that was the deciding factor of which bumpers to use. Jason's illusion is seeing his friends all disappear, and even the dwarf Quagmire not helping. Quagmire, though, does send Jason a psychic message or something. This inspires him to flash back to his fight with King Sphinx. When I was little, I missed the initial episode with King Sphinx, so my main exposure to him was in this episode. I saw him in a bunch of books and merchandise and assumed he must have been important. Maybe he was originally part of Rita's main team of villains, and that's why defeating him is considered such a big moment for Jason. Eventually, I'd see the entire first season, and I found King Sphinx's episode pretty lame. As a character, he was pretty lame too, and I was mystified all over again, wondering why he got so much attention in promotional material and merchandise. Later, I learned more about the original pilot episodes, and it made more sense. He was featured in the original pilot. The various companies involved thought he was going to be a main character or something. Another pilot featured the monster Gotan. I wonder why he was overlooked while King Sphinx got so much attention. I think the only instance of Gotan being featured in a promotion was in an early Power Rangers commercial. Back to the show, Jason, of course, overcomes his illusion and Rita shakes the island. This made me wonder, is she giant here, or are the Rangers shrunk? She then destroys the island, but the Rangers escape back to their Zords. They form the Ultra Zord and destroy Mutitus. Lokar escapes. Later, it's the dance thing, and we see Bulk and Skull really were Zack's only competition. One of the judges gives them a -3. Zack, of course, easily wins, and we see Quagmire escape the Island of Illusion and became the DJ at the dance. Alright. Anyway, Zack wins, and everyone is happy. When I was a kid, I liked this episode, despite the awkwardness. Looking back, it definitely didn't age well. I'd still take it over the clip shows we'd get later on in Disney and Neo Saban, though. The effects in its reversion aren't anything new, but sometimes they're entertaining. So that's it for this one. Hope you enjoyed it. See ya.
I don't feel so good.